In addition to the fees that Mr. Londa just discussed in terms of facility use, you know that we are also proposing the need to increase our school lunch fees by 25 cents a meal for each one of our students. This will, in effect, put our school lunch fees at the highest in the region. Right now, we're pretty commensurate with every other district. We will need to do that in order to shift some of the costs that's incurred in cleaning the cafeterias with our custodial staff, as well as the accounting practices for that particular program to that program, which will necessitate. And also the other fee that we're recommending in order to close this gap will be a busing fee. That proposal is, there are several districts across the Commonwealth at this time who charge for busing. Some charge for busing if it's less than the 1.5 mandated miles. Lunenburg transports a lot of students in that category. That is not the recommendation that I'm coming to you with in terms of busing. However, we're looking at students in 7 through 12 who might participate in the transportation program at that $1 per day or $180 per year for that transportation, and set a family max of $500. And looking at the statistics around this in terms of fee, that puts the cost actually in a medium price range for those communities that are charging for busing at this particular time. So as you can see, those that's a very significant impact. I want to use the same words that Mr. Londa used relative to what happens with the facilities and the grounds in terms of a fairly rapid decline. That is what will describe what will happen in our schools next year with these cuts, is a rapid decline in the opportunities and the quality of education that's provided. These are not factories, these are schools. And teaching and learning is about relationships. And you are compromising the relationships that we're able to develop and provide in delivering an educational program to students with these kinds of cuts. And if they are made, I can't assure you that our recoupment of that loss will be one that happens in a short period of time. That once made, those impacts will sustain over years, even with reductions of services that may come. So I really cannot stress the urgency around this for our children and for their education and for their futures. Please let us know what you need in order to do what you need to do as citizens of this community to help us avoid this. Thank you.
Thanks. Any further comments from the board?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Nope.
So this is scary, okay? And for those of you who are parents in the room, however scary you think it is, it's probably an order of magnitude scarier than you think it really is. When we look, these might seem small compared to the total size of the staff and the faculty, and the difference between 16 and 23 kids per teacher. Yeah, maybe that doesn't sound like a big deal. This is a big deal, okay? I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to make sure you're informed and understand this is the budget. This is where we're at now. If positive action doesn't happen, this is where we will be on July 1st when we start the next fiscal year, okay? So because the consequences here are so substantial for our students and our staff, I think, in my personal opinion, it's incumbent upon the community to take a good look in the mirror and determine what type of community you want to be, what type of school you want to provide for your students, what type of library services and police services you want to make this a community that's livable and that you can continue to be proud of for the next 30 or 40 years. So I know that there is an advocacy group that's been organized in my living room the other day. And I'd like to thank our former principal from TCP and the primary school, Cindy DeCantis, who's taking the leadership of that project. And I would encourage people to get engaged, figure out what's going on, and if you think it's worth maintaining our schools and community, you're going to have to do something about it. I've heard rumors that some people think, oh, great, someone else is taking care of this for me, so I don't have to worry about it. It's all going to be good. Doesn't work that way, folks. It just doesn't work that way. Someone else is not going to take care of this for you. Cindy's going to work hard. I know a bunch of other people. But if you want a different budget from this, you're going to have to participate and show up and bring your friends and go to town meeting and vote. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg. Mike, did you?
Just to add briefly that, we have over the last number of years faced cuts because our revenue has not kept pace with our costs, as modest as our cost increases have been. And we've done that through the efforts of the entire school community. This was efforts that included teachers and parents and administrators. And we were able to, in many ways, attempt to mitigate the effect on the educational program. But we've reached the tipping point. At this point, we face compromising our education program so severely, we lose the real heart of our community, which is our schools. As the superintendent mentioned earlier, this loss of opportunity is permanent. If it doesn't happen in a child's life this year, it never happens in their life this year, and it may not happen next year or the year after. I believe that we can, as a school community and as a community at large, come together so that we can maintain what has been called by the Worcester Telegram one of the best 20 schools in central Massachusetts. But it will take all of our efforts to make that happen.
Good, thanks, Mike. Anybody from the floor or public want to say anything at this point? Yeah, Cindy? You going to give us an update on your school improvement plan?
How about my home improvement?
I'm just trying to lighten it up a little bit.
Books I've read.
Welcome back.
Ms. Calmes, members of the school committee, we can't let this happen. That's what it, in a nutshell, we can't let this happen to our kids. Every person in this room this evening deeply respects the position that you're in. We applaud you. We know it was hard. It's not easy to make these cuts. There's no cuts to be made. The proposed cuts that you're announcing tonight affect children at all levels. And for some of those kids, the effects will last well beyond a year. A group has been formed, as Mr. Bertram has mentioned, the Lunenburg Citizens for Fiscal Responsibility. Will work diligently. We promise you that. It's a fantastic group of people. We'll work diligently to support and to get this override passed. We support you, the Board of Selectmen, and the FinCom in what their efforts are to help get this override passed, which will solve the whole town's revenue problems. This is not just about the schools. A Facebook page, website, and Twitter site, I think that's the right term, has been established. See, I need that professional development coordinator. We encourage parents and community members to frequent these sites to stay apprised of the information. I believe the key words would be Lunenburg Citizens. If you plug that in, you'll get to the right sites. We talk about being a strong community. For years, we've talked about what it means to be a community. If we truly are a community, then we need to model for the young people of this community what that means. Children learn from watching the adults that are modeling correct behavior for them. The young people of this town look to older people. There are some in the room. They look to older people as a model. Every parent wants their child to grow up to be a responsible community member with solid values. Well, then the adults in this community need to continually model that behavior for them. Let's show our children and the young people of Lunenburg that we care about the future of this town. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Cindy.